It's time for the BAQA. Hey, the BAQA. What you say? The BAQA with Mandi. The BAQA. The BAQA. Hey, what's up, BA fam? I am so excited to be here with y'all. I'm a little raspy today, but I'm kind of into it. I don't know about y'all. I'm into this. Let's getting older, getting a little bit raspier, getting some grit on them vocal cords. But today is the Q&A, which means y'all got questions. I have some answers, but like with a lowercase a, okay? As I say, you got to get those salt shakers out because everything that I say on this show, take it with a grain of salt. Don't sue me. You can call your attorney, but you ain't going to sue me. Okay. This is for pure entertainment purposes. I may be a fabulous career and money coach, but I am not your personal career and money coach. And honestly, we don't have all the details, right? So if I say something, it's just for funsies and I'm doing the best I can. But like, obviously, we don't have all the information. So again, don't sue us. Thank you. All right. Our first question of the day comes from Instagram. And if y'all want to send us a question, I keep saying us because it's like there were us, but now it's me. And it's like, what do I do in this new era? BA fam, just know that I'm trying to. I'm trying. I'm still a little hung up on my ex. Love you, Tiffany. All right. This question is from Regina from IG. Y'all can hit me up at Brown Ambition Podcast on Instagram if you want to have your question answered on the show. Also, brownambitionpodcast@gmail.com. All right. Regina says, hey, love all the content y'all do. I have been following y'all for a few years now. My question is that I have a 401k from a previous employer still sitting with the original brokerage I opened it in when I worked there, which is TIAA. I am now with a new employer and I have a 401k through that employer through a different brokerage, which is Fidelity. Now I realize I should roll my original 401k into an IRA. For ease, should I just roll it over to my new brokerage? If I do this and then end up with another employer later in life at another brokerage, would I then be able to roll both my IRA and current active 401k over? I would imagine I'd want to keep them together just so I don't forget where my money is. LOL. Thank you so much for your thoughts. And no, I won't sue my brown besties. Thank you, Regina. Regina's got her salt shaker out. She knows. Okay, but this is a great question, Regina. And I think your instinct is important, which is like for you, you would want to keep them together because you worry that you might forget where your money is. And that is a real concern here, right? Is if you have accounts in all different places, life is going to life. You may have several jobs over the rest of your career, and it doesn't seem like it's, possible, but it is very possible to forget that you have some money left over. I myself have like $1,500 or something like that saved in a 401k that's now been rolled over into an IRA from a previous employer. And I still have not got around because every time I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I got to do that. And then I just don't do it because I go to log in and I don't know my password. And I'm like, ugh, I'll come back another time. And it's just, it's a little bit, there's friction there. It's not so simple. It still like takes effort to do it. Right. So, and I'm like, well, it's not going anywhere. But what if I forget I had this $1,500? That's not a lot of, it's not a little bit of money, So we don't want that to happen. Right. So, if you think you may be inclined to forget, it may make a lot of sense to just take your previous employer's 401k and roll it over into an IRA that you own, and then make that IRA your destination for any future 401k rollovers. Okay. So that means if you leave the job that you have now and you want to move your 401k out of that Fidelity account, you already have this IRA opened with that has your previous 401k already rolled over. And then you can just add that and then open up your new 401k wherever your employer has their partnership with. Another reason it's great to roll it over is because your 401k through your employer, it may not have all of the investing options that you want. They may have very limited funds, or the funds that they do have may be more expensive than what you can find opening your own brokerage account, like through a Vanguard or a Schwab. The good news is that, I mean, Fidelity, TIAA, these are both platforms that should have a wealth of options for investing and low cost investments as well. So you could be good, just keeping your money parked there in that account. But let's say the other side of this is, okay, I don't want to open an IRA, even if I do designate that as my 401k rollover pot for the rest of my career. I would rather just take my 401k from my previous employer and roll it over to this new 401k at Fidelity. You can absolutely do that too. That takes a couple of like cons out of the equation. It means that you won't have to keep track of that 401k rollover IRA that you would open. And it just sort of gives you something to it gives you something to build on through your 401k at your new company. So those are a couple of pros, but for me, it's really which option is going to work better for you. The simplest, which means like I can just do one thing and kind of get this ticked off, and I know that I'm not losing or keep not losing track of the money that I have, is just to go ahead and roll that 401k, tell TIAA, here's where you can send my money. They'll roll it directly into your new employer provided 401k, and you can, keep it moving. You can keep doing that for the next job and the next job and the next job, and you have this like snowball of 401k balances that you're moving over. But it can't hurt to take a couple of extra steps to say, okay, long term, maybe I should have my individual brokerage where I can roll these accounts over into, and I can control what types of investing options I have. There's no bad answer here. There's just slight differences. And at the end of the day, it's up to you and what you're willing to do, how much work you're willing to put in and how much effort. And it's up to you. But that's a great question, Regina. And thank you so much for sending that. I'm going to take a quick break and be right back with question 2. All right, BA fam, we are back. And this is a question from Mrs. X from Instagram. She says, love y'all, love your show. Tiffany will miss you, girl. Me too. Okay, she says, my name is Mrs. X, and my husband and I make a combined income of nearly $400,000, yet we are in hella credit card debt to the point of almost paying hundreds in overdraft fees. Overdraft fees. I'm wondering why credit card debt would cause overdraft fees. I'm going to guess you mean like late fees or interest fees, but regardless, you're paying extra money on top of the debt, right? We have a child in private school and no one who will be starting college. Oh, we have a child in private school and one who will be starting college soon. Oh, we also have a high ass monthly tax bill. We're considering taking a loan to wipe out all credit card debt and try to live off of one income to save for college and emergencies. Is that the right thing to do? Please help. Thank you. Oh, Mrs. X. Well, the first thing is thank you for sharing this. In the world of like internet bullshittery and where everybody has a microphone and likes to cast judgment upon anyone who has something to complain about, this is the kind of thing that would like really piss internet commenters off. It's like, oh, Mrs. X, poor you. You're making $400,000 and you're so bad with your money that you have all this credit card debt. And you chose to put your kids in private school. So like this is all your own doing and you're a piece of garbage, blah, blah, blah. Nah, that's not why you're here, Mrs. X. You're here because I think you represent a lot of Americans, a lot of working people who are making good money, and yet because of the inflation that's happening and because the best choices for our children often are more money. And as a parent myself, I get it now. I really get it. I make decisions not infrequently that are not in my own best financial interest because they are what's best for the kids. And that is so real. It was so real. It's not like you can look at a piece of paper. I feel like this is like in the age of, we'll call him DR, but y'all know who I'm talking about. These old school financial educators or financial influencers who will look at someone like you and say, take your kids out of private school. What's wrong with the public school down the street? you could probably be saving $60,000 or however much your annual tuition is and just put that money into paying off your debt. But I get it because, like, your child's education, at least in my mind, it is one of the most important investments you can make. And if we're going to be scrimping and saving, is that where we're going to pull or trim the fat from? To you, that is up to you. That is your own damn business. Mrs. X and Mr. Y, that is up to you. Y'all chose to put your kids in private school because you want what you want for them, and that is none of our business. That also doesn't help when it comes to just your overall question, which is like, we're earning this much money, but we have this credit card debt. So now you're wondering, how can I get some relief, not just from the credit card debt, but from the fees that are associated with it? And I am in a very similar position right now, Mrs. X. High earning household, started to put more and more expenses on credit cards, got a little too comfortable doing that, and then realize how quickly that debt can start to accumulate just because you're paying interest on it. And those interest charges add up. It's like the beauty of compound saving. When you put money in a savings account and you start to earn interest on it, and then the money that you earn interest gets added in there, and then you get more interest, and then you're earning money, you're earning interest on the interest you saved, and it's just like a flywheel of savings, right? But the same thing happens when it comes to credit card debt, okay? So it's very easy to see how you can get overwhelmed. I'm just trying to like validate that it's difficult, right? Now, here's the uncomfortable truth that I and my husband have had to face too, and mostly me, is the other day I was literally, I can't believe I'm telling you guys on this show. I don't know if I'm ready for this. I literally was in Target. It was the day after Halloween. And when I tell you, my buggy was stacked to the ceiling with stuff because they had their 50% off of all the Halloween stuff, and those yellow clearance signs were up. And I was like, oh, we need this for the kids for next Halloween. And we have a Halloween block party, and I should start stockpiling, decor and plastic cups and disposable this and that and decorations and all this, like, and goodie bags and erasers and miniature bubbles in the shape of, Dracula fangs and like all this nonsense. And not only was the buggy stacked higher than me, I mean, like, I could not see. I should, maybe I'll post a picture. I could not see over the top of my own freaking Target cart, y'all. And then, bring, bring, I look at my phone and there's an unidentified number calling. And I'm like, oh, it's probably an election campaign. But then I hear the doo doo doo, which is my calendar saying, hey, bitch, you have an appointment with your financial planner right now. You forgot about it. And not only did you forget that you had this appointment, but bitch, you were standing in the middle of Target with all their shit that you know you shouldn't be buying, that you know you're going to have to put on your Target Red card, and you're going to somehow try to justify because you get 5% off on the Target, 5% cash back on your Target Red card. And also it's all 50%. So really we're saving money in the future, right? Oh my days. Once I realized who it was that was calling, I'm not proud of myself. I sent it to voicemail. Okay. I sent it to voicemail, and I kept on going, and my heart's sort of starting to race, and I'm navigating the store, and I'm trying to like get down these aisles, and I'm peeking around this giant fucking like 10-foot tall pumpkin playing an air guitar lawn decoration that I just had to have because I thought my son would think it'd be funny. And I am trying, and the skeletons, I'm not making this up, skeletons are falling off of my cart because it's too piled high and they're in awkward shape, and I'm trying to like Tetris them back into the buggy. I get to the checkout area, I look at my phone, the guy from the financial planning firm has sent me a text message. Hey, I'm so sorry. We haven't seemed to be able to connect. Let me know if you still have time. And I'm not going to lie. I started to sweat, and I picked up that phone and I called him back. And I had one hand on my cart and the other hand on the phone. And I'm just standing near the checkout because I'm like, this guy doesn't even know how deluded I've sort of become. Not deluded, but he doesn't even know how, like, I have I have like tricked myself into thinking that everything is fine, and how I'm in such this like spiral of overspending now. And it's like, it's really starting to bury me. And now it has become an issue, but it was so humbling and so frankly embarrassing and shame inducing. He can't even see me. We're not on FaceTime, but just the fact that I am talking to him and I have one hand on this buggy full of Halloween shit that I do not need and I'm about to put on my credit card, like the shame, my inner shame is so high at this point, and I see the optics. Like somebody snaps a picture of me and puts it on the internet with a meme saying, financial educator at Target, spending beyond her means, on the phone with her financial planner to talk about how to manage her credit card debt. Like, I get it. I get it. I can see it. And it's really it's like, I don't even want to say crazy because it's something that we all, like so many of us, go through, right? At certain seasons in our life. So anyway, I'm talking to this guy, and he has all of my accounts uploaded because at this point, at least I have done the work to like get all my accounts on the system, the platform, so that he can see where stuff is and all that. And I'm telling him that, okay, yeah, we have, this credit card debt. And right now, most of it is on 0% interest credit cards, that those intro periods are going to be expiring over the course of the next year in different time periods. So, but it's like, it's going to be fine. I was just thinking maybe we'll, take out a home equity line of credit, just tap into the equity in our house. And shouldn't we do that? Because, some banks, they may pull back from offering home equity loans because of the economy, because the same way that they did during the pandemic and past recessions, they stop offering them so much. And so that means it could just be smart, really, just to take out this home equity line of credit, just to have it, like as an emergency, and also to pay off this credit card debt. Like, it seems to make sense, right? And I wanted him to validate me. This poor guy. By the way, this is our first session together because he came. I had like a free consultation through my financial planning, my financial management platform. It's called Empower. Check it out if you want to. I don't get paid by them. Maybe I ought to. But anyway, he said, and I can tell he's listening. He's like, uh-huh, uh-huh. Well, here's the thing. If we don't treat the underlying issue, which is that y'all are spending more than you make, and it's in small bits. It's not like any one huge spending spree has pushed you so far over the edge, but for a extended period of time. Now I've been transparent about how in 2023 it was super hard for me because I couldn't work. I had a baby. I'm writing a book. I'm going through all this drama with my dad being sick. I wasn't able to produce the income that I needed. And now we're constantly like trying to keep up with that, right? Trying to build back up. So that's an extended period of time. And he's just like, a home equity line of credit won't fix it. And he wasn't this blunt, but it was pretty much what he was saying. The HELOC is not going to fix it. It's just going to put you in an even more vulnerable spot because now your home is tied up in it. Now you could lose your home if you can't afford to pay back the HELOC. If you take a draw off that line of credit. We've got to solve the underlying issue of the overspending. And that is when we can sort of move forward from there. And when I tell you, like, obviously that's the answer. Like, I know that. I know it very well. But it's like when you have the fact in front of you and the logic and the reasoning is there, it's really you sort of need that wake up call, I think, as a parent, because it is so easy to justify like so many decisions if it's for the betterment of the kids. But if I'm really being honest and I'm being like tough on myself, I would say what's really better for the kids is that mommy and daddy are not putting them in financial jeopardy in the putting ourselves, I mean, in financial jeopardy in the long run. To sort of like for the betterment of the kids, it sort of like puts all this blame on the children's shoulders. Like, well, you really wanted that $15 Hot Wheel monster truck. You know what I mean? Like, you really needed to go to Legoland for your birthday. You really, that's not exactly fair. I don't think it's fair at all to the kids. So I'm not taking it back to you, Mrs. X. I'm not saying that the answer is like take the kids out of private school, da 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 da. But I do think you and your husband, just like me and my husband, maybe we should be friends. Maybe we should just all sit down together and just look at the budget, just the bare bones of it all. How much is coming in? How much is going to be going out? And if we can't trim certain things or we have non negotiables that we don't want to get rid of, well, then it's a wake up call. It's like, so where's the extra money going to come from? And maybe you're like me. Maybe you have windfalls that you know are going to be coming. Maybe you guys have an annual bonus that could be coming in January, February to help you chip away at some of that debt. That was me in corporate. And honestly, having those windfalls were a huge like godsend for me, knowing I'd have an annual bonus or I could exercise some of my stock options and then get a little bit of a windfall, and that could help me, keep some of this debt at bay. I'm still operating a little bit the way that I was operating during corporate when I would, have a couple of these like financial windfalls each year. And maybe you guys do too. But let's get ahead of that and plan for it so that we know, okay, when that bonus comes through, when that tax refund comes, when the equity vests, we know immediately it's got to go toward these debt payments. And then how long would it take us? What can we expect to get from those windfalls? And then how long would it take us to really chip away at the rest of this debt? Okay. And then we need a budget. And it's really annoying when you make 400K a year, which is like about what my husband and I are bringing into collectively, like 3 to 400. Like it's really annoying to then think, oh, we need to be scrimping and like using a budget. At least for me, I'm like, oh, budgets. Like I don't want to think about that when I'm at the grocery store. I just want to like grab my stuff and go. And sorry, that's not going to work. That's not going to work for right now. There does need to be a conversation about what is our budget for groceries? What is our budget for eating out? What is our budget for child activities and entertainment and babysitting for date nights and all of that? Like we do need to have those difficult, uncomfortable conversations and like maybe stop telling ourselves that we don't necessarily need to because we're in a certain income bracket and that kind of stuff, is maybe beneath us or like just anticipating that there'll be more to take care of this debt that we are accumulating in the process. This is really, really uncomfortable to talk about. I'm personally like, I don't think I'm exactly sweating, but I did not anticipate telling y'all about my whole Target experience right now. But hey, this is my show and I'm doing it. But Mrs. X, I really see what you're going through. I do think taking a loan to wipe out all your credit card debt is an option. I think it can be a smart option when it comes to consolidating a fixed rate personal loan, a fixed rate debt consolidation loan, unsecured. That means that you don't have to put your house up as collateral like you do with a HELOC or home equity loan. That can be a good idea to wipe out the credit card debt and make it less expensive for you to pay down. But as I was just told by this very kind man from Empower the other day, my financial planner, um, it's just going to accumulate again if we don't get to the root cause and we don't really get that budget in place and stop the leaks in our own budget, stop the money from seeping out the cracks and disappearing and then leaving us with an even bigger problem, even more cracks to our foundation because we're letting that underlying issue not get solved. So living off of one income to save for college, that was your second idea. You said, is that the right thing to do? I think that's a amazing idea. And it may be that, that is a way that y'all can create the space to put away money for your kids' college. But is there a plan? Can you actually live off that one income? Can you actually pay your expenses and all your household needs and all your savings and investings and all your goals and still avoid that credit card debt? Because if you can't actually live off that one income without credit card debt, it's going to accumulate again. And that's just where I get a little bit of stress, because you've got 400K yearly now and you still have credit card debt. So take away, half that salary and what will happen? So that's the concern. Mrs. X, please follow up And y'all, I'm going to keep keeping it 100 because I know I'm not alone. I think it was something like over 70% of Brand Ambition listeners say that credit card debt and overall debt is their biggest financial stressor right now. And we are in it together, BA fam. And Mrs. X, thank you for sending in your question. BA fam, thank you for listening. Again, you can hit us up brownambitionpodcast@gmail.com or send us a DM at Brown Ambition Podcast on Instagram if you want to have your question featured on the show. Until next time, bye.